Hey everyone, it's Ryan, and thanks for tuning in. Today, I want to talk about the Guelph real estate sales for the first half of February and how they compare to the weirdness that we experienced in January. But first, for those of you who don't know me, my name is Ryan Waller, and I work in Guelph real estate with my wife, Beth, and together we run one of the top volume teams in Guelph and within Keller Williams Canada, and it's just the two of us. And we work very hard to educate and inform our clients about what's going on in the market, including this video, as well as our blog updates and our podcast episodes. Okay, so the February Guelph numbers are in for the first half of the month. And if you were hoping that they would pick up from January, well, yes, they did. But that tends to happen every year anyways. And in fact, anything can be better than the January we just had because it was pretty darn bad. January this year was not only lower than all the other Januaries we've seen for the past number of years, but it was also one of the slowest individual months outside of December 2023 that we have seen in years. So very sluggish. So February, it can only go up from here, right? It is going up, but the numbers aren't much better. And what we typically take a look at are the number of sales that happen per day on average in the Guelph real estate market. And so over the past 7 years, we've seen a range in Guelph real estate from 8.8 houses per day as the high down to just over 4 houses per day as the low. And February 2026, 3.7. So we are below the statistical average of the last 7 Februaries. Not a great start to the month. And there are a lot of reasons why people say that is. It could be the weather. We've had a long, hard winter. Nobody is interested in looking at houses when it's minus 25 and there is a snowstorm. So there is a theory that many people have just sort of decided that it's too snowy out. It's too terrible outside to go look at houses, and they'll wait till the spring. Sellers have been doing the same thing. It's too snowy, it's too icy, it's too miserable outside. I'm going to wait until the spring. And that happens every year, but I think maybe some people are hibernating a little bit longer this year. There's the other theory that the market is down because there are a lot of people just waiting on the sidelines because the economy's not the greatest. You read the headlines and it's a bit shaky. The U.S. tariffs and the uncertainty in the U.S. Has a lot of people deciding that maybe now is not the time to go out and increase your mortgage or take on a mortgage. And they have decided to do other things with their money, like not spend it. And so that could be another reason. We also didn't get the listings that we thought we were going to get at the beginning of the year, which we'll talk about in a second. And so therefore buyers, we have many clients of our own who have told us they have yet to find something they're interested in buying, so they're not doing anything. And guess what? Those people are probably selling a house too. So not only do they not buy a house, but they're not putting their house on the market. And lastly, interest rates or mortgage renewals for 60% of Canadians are up this year in 2026. And so a lot of people are deciding they don't want to do anything at the moment. Many of those people have mortgage payments that are going to go up. And they are trying to figure out what they want to do with that before they decide whether they want to go and buy a house. And so if we get into the number of houses available on the Guelph real estate market, in December we had 437. And typically what happens is as December rolls along, mid-month, late month, you start to see cancellations. You start to see people not wanting to show their house anymore, so they take it off the market temporarily with the intention of coming back after the holidays. And we did see that. We dropped about 90 listings. It net 90 listings, so that's all the sales and everything else, all the new listings. In the end, it was a net 90 decrease at the end of the year. And we would anticipate that the majority of that would come back, right? It would come back in January. Well, here we are now at mid-February, and we have 403. We had 437 at the beginning of December. We now have 30 less, 403. And of that, only 180 are detached. And that really has stayed almost exactly at that number for a month now. We've gone up net zero on detached houses in a month. And we have gone up 10% in condo listings in the past month. So despite the fact that we are over 400 listings again in Guelph, it's a bit deceiving because it's all coming from the condo segment. And we're starting to see that a little bit in detached, starting to see a bit of the pent-up demand that is coming out of the detached segment because buyers are looking for things, but they're not finding what they want. And so they're waiting and waiting and waiting. And in some cases, which I'll get into, it looks like they're willing to compete to get the right house. There were 58 sales so far in the first half of February, and the average price was $719,000, and that's simply all the houses that sold. Average of the price, $719,000. That's down from what we've been seeing in the past couple of months. Of that, we have 18 sales within the condo market at $537,000, and we have 38 sales in the detached segment at $799,000. We've been watching this segment for a little while go up and down, just below 800, and now we are just barely below 800 again in February so far. Okay, so let's start with the detached home segment. There were 38 sales here. The low price was $345,000. That was a vacant lot in the ward. Just a note that if that listing wasn't there, the lowest actual price of a house in the detached segment was $645,000. So $345,000 did drag the average down, but nonetheless, it is a sale. $1.335 million was the high. That was in the east end of Guelph. Total homes here sold at 98% of the last posted list price, which means there's a little bit of negotiation, but at 98%, that is within the range we've been seeing for months now. So there's really nothing unusual there. But the story is this part here. 8 of the 38 listings that sold over the asking, and 5 of them sold at the asking. So that's a third of the total listings so far this month have sold at or above the asking price. And what I tried to take a look at was, of these 13 homes, how many of them actually were listed and sold in February? Because I was trying to gauge, are people just waiting for the good stuff or what they perceive to be the good stuff? And it seems that maybe that is the case, because 8 of the 13 that sold at or above the asking were also listed and sold in February, meaning somebody was waiting, something suitable hit the market, a buyer jumped on it, and either they got it at the asking price or another buyer jumped in and was willing to pay more than the asking price. And so there was and there still is pent-up demand. So if you are selling a bungalow in the older neighborhoods, Exhibition Park, St. George's Park, any of the areas of Guelph that have something that's post-war between 1950s and maybe 1965, those are really moving right now. So if you need a value on one of those, call us, but they are a shining star at the moment. The remaining 66% of the houses in the detached segment sold under the asking. That's 25 of 38. We also keep an eye on the $1 million plus segment, and it looks like we are rolling up at about 11% of this segment selling over $1 million for the year. This historically trends between 15 to 20%. So we're a little bit below that, but it's sort of in that range. And so we'll keep an eye on that as well. But it seems to me that that's starting to fail. And maybe instead of 15 to 20%, we'll maybe looking at 10 to 15. But we'll keep an eye on it and let you know. Okay, let's flip over to the condo market. There were 18 sales here in 15 days. That means we sold just over 1 per day, which is actually a move up from what we've seen in prior months for sure. 312 was the low price. That was in the Willow neighborhood, and 830,000 was the high, and that was in downtown Guelph. That was one of the condo towers downtown. The average price here is $538,000, and we've been watching this closely because it's been moving between about $525 and $600 as the high. And at 530, we're kind of getting closer to the bottom edge of that range. And as the number of houses go up, as I mentioned earlier, it's gone up about 10% so far this year. As the inventory numbers rise, that means prices will probably decline. So we're going to keep an eye on that. We do anticipate this segment is going to decline slowly over the long term. So now is a good time to buy, but of course, it could also be a good time to buy later in the year as well. So there should be no rush from a buyer's perspective. And 42% of the condos on the market today, believe it or not, are vacant. So somebody has moved on and is still paying the month-to-month costs for that property, but have yet to sell. So it's worth investigating some of those. One of the 18 units sold over the asking, and one unit sold at the asking. That's a total of 12%. The other 16, or 88%, sold under the asking price. So 88% under the asking. We're at 97.80% sale price to the last posted price, which means a little bit of negotiation, but nothing unusual there as well. And as I mentioned, we were selling just over one per day. There were periods of time where we were at 0.5, 0.6, 7, 80 per day. And so to be over one, maybe just a little, I don't know, but it seems like an interesting fact to note anyways, that we are over one so far this month. Now, if we take a look at the type of market that we're in Guelph real estate right now, we are currently sitting at 4.3 months of inventory. The way we track months of inventory is you take the number of sales over the past 3 months and develop an average. And in Guelph, that equates to 93 per month. And you take a look at a current inventory level you have, which is 403. You divide 403 by the 93 average over the past 3 months, and it gives you months of inventory, as in how many months would it take with the current active listings on Guelph for the entire Guelph real estate market to sell out. It would take 4.3 months. And if you're anywhere between 0 and 2, you are in a seller's market. If you're between 2 and 6, you're in a balanced market where things are sort of even. And if you're at 6+ months of inventory, you are in a full-blown buyer's market. So at 4.3, we're sort of sitting in the middle at the moment. However, we're quickly leaning towards, and I anticipate that by the time we get to late March, early April into May, we're going to be very close to, if not already in, a buyer's market. But the months of inventory number is going to go up from here for sure, simply because we have some sluggish months as an indicator, and then we've got a lot of months where inventory is rising quickly as we get into the spring. So I think it's inevitable that we're going to move very close to a buyer's market very soon. So if you're a buyer in this market, you may be thinking, is it a good time? And I hate to say yes to that, because yeah, it is a great time, but could it get better? Yeah, it could pretty darn quickly get better for you if you're a buyer. So I would encourage you as a buyer, if you are thinking about getting into the market, go to the bank, get a pre-approval, figure out what you're qualified for, and then give us a call. Figure out what it is that you can do. Think about what it is, the type of house that you want, what neighborhood do you want, to figure out those things. But yes, great time to buy, might get better. And there are some great deals to be had, especially in the condo market at the moment. My advice for you, if you're selling at this moment, well, I think that you need to be priced appropriately. There's no magic sauce in the houses that sold in February at or over the asking. They came out onto the market when there was scarcity, where there were less houses in that range or in that price point or in that neighborhood, and they came out at market price, maybe even slightly below, and as a result, the market reacted. Buyers have more tools than they've had in the past to take a look at comparable pricing, to take a look at past pricing, and they are smarter. You as a seller need to be able to react. Gone are the days of 2021 where you price the house at what you want to sell it at, higher than the market average, and see what happens. And oftentimes what happens is that the buyers buy something else. And so as a seller, you need to react to that as well. And those sellers that are moving their houses appropriately. And if you're looking for a value on a house and you don't know what it is, just call us. There's no pressure to sign any documents or do anything. We'll certainly help you out and give you the guidance you need, because it helps everybody in the long run. Anyways, if you have any questions on the Guelph real estate market, feel free to give us a call, text, email. You can book an appointment right on our website, and we'd be happy to help.